So we're about 2 months away from WrestleMania, and I think it's time to give my early predictions for what I see the matches being for WrestleMania 41. So obviously we have a few matches, and by a few I mean just two matches that have been actually confirmed within the last couple of weeks. That being the Royal Rumble winners, Jey Uso selected Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. I predict that's going to be a night one match. And Charlotte Flair selected Tiffany Stratton as well for her respective championship. So it's going to be Charlotte against Tiffany at WrestleMania 41, potentially night one, I assume as well. So I figured, we might as well start at the top with Cody Rhodes, because Elimination Chamber is a few weeks from now. I'm recording this within, mid-February, I think February 18th to be exact. So right now we have the full field for Cody Rhodes, and I think it really comes down to two people as far as who is going to face Cody Rhodes potentially at WrestleMania within that Elimination Chamber. And I predict that it's going to be John Cena. I predict that they want John Cena in a title match because it's his last, year, it's his last run, it's his last WrestleMania. So I think that they want to have the marquee of having John Cena in a championship match at his last WrestleMania ever. Now, if you ask me, I think Cody Rhodes against John Cena, I mean, there's potential for it, but the only way I want to see Cody Rhodes against John Cena is if John Cena ends up showing subtle signs of a heel turn. I know I don't want him, I'm not saying that he needs to turn heel. I'm saying if this match actually ends up happening, then John Cena has to show sort of signs of a heel, shades of gray, because to have two baby faces, John Cena and Cody Rhodes, are essentially like the same wrestler if you look at them at face value, you know what I mean? So you would have to have some sort of splash of gray there in order to make this interesting. And let me state this so I can get this out of the way. These aren't like my fantasy booking matches. These are matches that I genuinely predict are gonna happen at WrestleMania 41. So this is not what I want, you know what I mean? And I also had to make this list with no Rock involvement and as minimal multi-man matches as I possibly could keep this to, because if I had the opportunity to have multi-man matches, I would literally have multi-man matches here for almost every single match, which is not a good thing, because I think multi-man matches are very lazy, very Vince McMahon type booking, where it's like, we don't have anything for 5-6 guys, let's put them all in the same match for the same title, you know what I mean? So I think that's very just repetitive booking. But I do have one match that I think potentially could be a multi-man match, and that's Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins against CM Punk. So obviously they're building towards a Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns sort of program coming out of the Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins took Roman Reigns out, and he hasn't been on television ever since, and CM Punk naturally, I guess, falls into that order. And I think maybe the Paul Heyman favor comes into play, and maybe CM Punk loses the Elimination Chamber match and calls upon Paul Heyman to get himself into this match. Again, it's very far-fetched. I'm not a fan of it, but if they do Cody and Cena, potentially I see them doing this match as a sort of, night one major match as well. Another multi-woman match, I guess you could say, that I see them potentially going down is Rhea Ripley defending against Io Sky and against Liv Morgan. So like I said, I'm recording this before Elimination Chamber, so I don't know if who's gonna win the women's side of the Elimination Chamber, but I think there's a good possibility that Liv Morgan ends up winning that Elimination Chamber match. It's either between Liv or Bianca, but due to the fact that Bianca is currently occupied with the whole Jade scenario, which is a whole different entire thing that I couldn't even figure out where that's going to lead towards. But since she's taken up by that storyline, I think that there's a good possibility that Liv Morgan ends up winning that women's Elimination Chamber match and ends up interfering in that Rhea Ripley Io Sky match that's going to happen the following night. Because if you have Rhea Ripley against Io Sky, and you have Rhea Ripley just beat Io Sky on a random episode of Raw, it really does nothing for Io Sky, and I think almost hurts her as well. So I think if you have Liv Morgan interfere in that match, and if she wins the Elimination Chamber match, I think it makes the best sense to have this multi-woman match for Rhea's championship. Next, I have Drew McIntyre against LA Knight. So, Drew McIntyre, I had a lot of matches potentially with Roman Reigns that could have happened on this show, but seeing where things are going, seeing that Drew McIntyre is now involved with potentially Damian Priest and LA Knight, I think the best case scenario for Drew McIntyre is to have a match against LA Knight. There's they've been bickering back and forth on Twitter, and there's all these dirt sheets and whatever, which I think is essentially now just a work. They're trying to work it into a storyline, so I think this is probably the best case scenario for both guys. And as far as Damian Priest, I think he might go after the US title because Nakamura, he hasn't had a stellar title reign. I can't really say that I've been a fan of Nakamura's US title reign. I think there's something wrong with the US Championship and heels carrying it, because I think that every time a heel carries a US Championship, at least under Triple H's booking, it seems to go nowhere. So I think Damian Priest potentially may take the title off of Nakamura at WrestleMania. Now, as far as the IC title goes, like I said, I had the option of doing a multi-man match with a lot of people, but I decided that, I want to keep this straight one-on-one for the IC title. And I think we have to revisit Sheamus against Braun Breaker, because Sheamus still hasn't won his IC title, that title that has eluded him for his entire career. And I think if you didn't put it on him at Saturday night's main event, this is the perfect opportunity. You know what I mean? This is literally the best opportunity for Sheamus to go in there and have his moment, have possibly the last big moment of his entire career. So I would do that. And then I also have here Solo Sikoa against Jacob Fatu, which I think is an easy match, is an easy layup match. I think a lot of people are expecting Solo Sikoa to take on Jacob Fatu, given the story where that's going, where that's heading. I think that's a strong possibility that we're going to see this match. Now, I had some harsh criticism for the New Day and how they've been handled by Triple H on Monday Night Raw. I think that the New Day, with their heel turn, started off hot, but now it's sizzled off, it's cooled off. So I think that, New Day has obviously targeted Rey Mysterio. I think that eventually when Rey Mysterio comes back and confronts the New Day, is going to have a tag team partner by the name of Pentagon Jr. So I think we'll see Penta and Rey Mysterio team up against the New Day, because obviously Rey Mysterio and Penta, there's a mutual respect there, and they sort of tease at a partnership between them at the Royal Rumble. So I think there's a good possibility we see this match. So next, I predict that Logan Paul will have a match against AJ Styles. Now, I've heard rumors that AJ Styles is potentially going to face Finn Balor at WrestleMania 41, although I'm not sure if those are legitimate or not. But I would put Logan Paul against AJ Styles, because Logan Paul was the one who eliminated AJ Styles from the Royal Rumble. And also, I think, it's a good spot for both guys, because AJ Styles and Logan Paul haven't, had a match against each other, and they're both currently on the Raw brand. And, Logan Paul's a top heel. Like it or not, he's a top heel. And AJ Styles, he's a returning babyface. So I think it could possibly fit. They've teased AJ against Braun, but I think that's just a tease for now. I don't think there's really any merit for that. And as far as the SmackDown Tag Team Championships go, I think that, regardless, I think is going to end up being a multi-man match. I think you're going to have all the SmackDown tag teams, DIY, the Motor City Machine Guns, Pretty Deadly, the Street Profits. I think you're gonna have all those tag teams probably in a multi-man tag team match or in a multi-man ladder match, because I think, yeah, there's stories going on between them, but I think they're all just gonna get lazy and just book them all in a multi-tag team match just to crown potentially, I think, the Street Profits at WrestleMania 41. And then I got Randy Orton against Kevin Owens. There's been heavy rumors of Randy Orton and Kevin Owens being the rumored match for Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 41. So Kevin Owens is taking on Sami Zayn at the Elimination Chamber in an unsanctioned match. So that leaves the question, if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to blow off their feud at the Elimination Chamber match, and if we get Randy Orton and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, then I think that unfortunately leaves Sami Zayn with Karrion Kross, who, no disrespect to Karrion Kross, but if you compare Sami Zayn's previous last two WrestleMania matches, one of them he was in the main event, and one of them he beat, one of the most historic IC title reigns in history. And then you turn around this year and he's wrestling Karrion Kross, a guy who isn't even featured, who isn't even wrestling on a weekly basis on Monday Night Raw. I think it's, it's such a letdown for somebody like Sami Zayn. But if anything, I think it's a good opportunity for somebody like a Karrion Kross to show everybody what he's capable of. So something I'm not entirely sure of is where they're going with this whole Judgment Day split, because for months they've been teasing the Judgment Day split. They've been teasing, Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio being at odds with each other. They've been teasing Dominic Mysterio potentially adding in a new member for the Judgment Day. Now, I don't know if they're going to break up the Judgment Day prior to WrestleMania, because if they break them up before WrestleMania, then I think the best match is going to be Finn Balor against Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania 41, because like I said, I don't want to do tag team matches where like last year, especially for Dominic Mysterio, it's really easy to put Dominic Mysterio against his father once again against Rey Mysterio, but I think that's very lazy. I think if anything, we should consider this match Finn Balor against Dominic Mysterio, because the whole Judgment Day faction has essentially run its course. I think there's nothing left for that group to do unless you get somebody else, a new member, to lead that faction, because in the current state that it's in, I think we just need to put an end to the Judgment Day once and for all. Now, the one thing that confused me and has me puzzled still to this very day is what they're gonna do with the whole Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi storyline, because that could literally go any which way, and I can't even give you a straight answer as to what I think they're gonna do. I think potentially maybe Naomi turns heel and Jade Cargill comes back and confronts Naomi, but what happens with Bianca? You know what I mean? Is Bianca gonna be left off the show? Because I don't foresee Bianca turning heel on Jade Cargill and Naomi turning heel at the same time against her, you know what I mean? Or does Jade come back as a heel? You know what I mean? Like, I'm so confused generally on what they're gonna do with that whole storyline. So these are my genuine WrestleMania predictions as of mid-February. Again, this could literally change in a heartbeat. If tomorrow, like I said, if tomorrow The Rock wants to show up and blow through these WrestleMania plans, and he literally could. I had to book this without The Rock's involvement. I had to ignore The Rock even being present at this WrestleMania, just so I can map out where I think the WrestleMania matches are gonna go, what the match card is gonna be. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this WrestleMania match card predictions, and also let me know what you feel about WrestleMania, the hype going into WrestleMania, because there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of talk about this year's WrestleMania not being as hyped as the previous year or the year before that. So let me know what you guys think below of that as far as your hype levels go. And until next time, y'all, take care, and I will see y'all later.